Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now, if this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe talking about could have Belichick fixed the Cowboys' cultural issues. I think this is an interesting question. I don't believe so. It looks like, just based off of the title, it looks like Stephen A. does. So I want to hear what he has to say, and I want to see what Shannon has to say as well, and then we can kind of break it down from there. But before we even start, I do just want to say I don't think it would, because I don't think Belichick has that clout anymore. I think it's gone. And once it's gone, it just never returns.
Cowboys can fix any culture issues because we know they have the talent on paper.
Before I offer what I think they can do, Stephen A., do you remember you and I got up and I said, Stephen A., this is not going to go over very well.
That's right. Yes,
having played 14 years and been in that locker room, to hear him say that, he's tired when every other team has played the same number of games that you've played up until that point. And for all of a sudden to you.
Okay, this clip started. So DeMarcus Lawrence said on playoff loss, I think the main thing is we was burnout. Micah Parsons, I would never say I'm tired or I feel fatigued. That is bizarre. Bizarre. I can't even make sense of that.
Let me tell the audience, you got up. First of all, you challenged him on it. Then after that, you got up during commercial break and walked over to him and you said a few words to him, and then you came to me and you said during commercial break while we was out there freezing in Vegas, you're like, Stephen A., this ain't gonna go over well. I'm telling you right now, this ain't gonna go over well.
No, because there are certain things you just can't say publicly. You might feel that way, but you can't say it publicly. The problem that they have is something that's beyond repair, that's beyond fixing, and that's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones created the culture. He created it. So this is what you get right now. You get guys making excuses, and the Cowboys have had the better team a number of years in the postseason, but they lose even at home. But this is a Jerry Jones, and it's something that they can't overcome because the coaches can't coach, because Jerry is the coach. And whatever Mike McCarthy says, whatever the D coordinator says, they can go upstairs to Jerry and override because he's emasculated the head coach. The coach is a coach in theory, in title only. Jerry is the coach. He's the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the position coach, because this is what he's allowed to happen. When Jimmy was there, you actually think somebody would have ever uttered, I'm tired? Absolutely not. The problem is that Jerry has allowed this to happen, go on for far too long. I'm not excusing the players because at the end of the day, you're responsible for what happens on that field. But Jerry has allowed this. He doesn't put a coach in place. He doesn't put people in place that can hold the players accountable. And what I've known is players, if you don't hold them accountable, more times than not, they're going to do what the Cowboys have been doing over the last 25 plus years.
My answer to this question, Shannon, is they should have hired Bill Belichick. This is exactly what I was talking about. It's not just that he's a 6-time champion as a head coach, a 2-time champion as a coordinator, or a person that as a head coach went to 9 Super Bowls. It's the Patriot mystique during all of those years of success. Whether they were winning the Super Bowl, whether they went to 10 seasons without winning the Super Bowl or whatever, you heard about the Patriot Way. And we knew what that meant, the Belichick way. Because even though he had a superstar who would ultimately be known as the greatest of all time in Tom Brady, it was clear who was running football operations. It was clear that if you did anything inside that locker room that was not liked or was frowned upon by Bill Belichick, something's going to happen to you. Everybody understood it. You knew Robert Kraft was the owner. You knew that the buck stopped with him. But you also knew that when it came to inside that locker room, there was one voice. See, Robert Kraft might have something to say when it comes to finances, when it comes to contractual negotiations, etc. But the football portion of it, inside that locker room, how you walked, how you talked, how you act, how you chirped, what you said to the media, what you didn't say to the media, how you conducted yourself. Oh, no, no, no. That was one voice right there.
So, yeah, Bill Belichick would have been a great hire for the Cowboys 10 years ago, okay? Or maybe the moment Tom Brady left to Tampa Bay, okay? But now, that mystique that Stephen A is talking about is gone, okay? It's been exposed. Whether you think Bill Belichick is actually an amazing coach or not, it actually doesn't even matter in this circumstance, because it's all about what perception is. And you have to think about, what do the players think about now? How do they think about Bill Belichick? They do not have, and whether it's right or wrong, this is just what it is. The players do not have the same admiration and respect for Bill Belichick that they did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They just don't. Okay? They see him as dated. They see him as unnecessarily hard. They see him as jerky. And they see him as carried by Tom Brady. Again, whether that's actually accurate at all, it doesn't matter, because it's all perception. And if you don't respect your coach in that way, then you're not going to get the most out of the team. Think of all the teams that really succeed. They have absolute, undeniable allegiance and respect for their coach. That they just believe that if their coach tells them to go outside and go eat grass, they will do it. Okay? And these are the coaches that are, and this is what Bill Belichick used to have. He used to have that. So you went along with the Patriot Way because you were winning. But now he's been shown to not be able to win. Whether you want to blame Mac Jones or whoever, it doesn't matter. That bubble has been popped. So now these younger players also are like, Bill Belichick, who, man? That's all Tom Brady. They don't have the same reverence for him that they did. And that's what matters. And so the coaches that have that unconditional respect, that I will do whatever you say, it's Andy Reid, it's Sean McVay, it's Kyle Shanahan, it's Harbaugh, honestly, right now. Obviously, he's back into the NFL, but he had it in college, which is a little bit easier to command that from, college-age kids. But he will have that in the NFL, as long as he hits the ground running. Sean Payton had it. It's just different. And once it's lost, it's lost. It's lost. And that's why a player coach only goes so far when they're winning. Because the moment that they're not winning, it's like, man, right? If anyone who has any interaction with little kids, it's very similar. It's when everything's going great and you're having a fun day and no one's acting out and you're just like a cool dad or a cool uncle or a cool babysitter, whatever, cool older brother. It's all fun and everything's going well. But the moment that things start to get a little, they do something that they shouldn't, and now you have to be a little bit more serious or disciplined, right? Everything can fall apart. It's like, well, you were the cool guy. What do you mean? Why are you doing this? And it's like, well, because you shouldn't be doing that. You need to go to bed, or you can't watch this, or you can't eat this, whatever it may be. And it just comes crashing down. And that's why you have if you have a really strict household, you can keep things very good and in line. But that also eventually breaks and bursts. Military households in that regard also show kids don't necessarily grow up to be happy and healthy and live great lives. Because the moment that illusion is popped, the moment you get old enough where you realize, hey, that adult doesn't have all the answers. And he's been making me do all this stuff? Get out of here. That's how you get the rebellion. And that's what you're seeing with Bill Belichick. So I do not believe that you could bring Bill Belichick to the Cowboys and everyone's going to fall in line. Micah's just going to put his head down and say, I will do whatever he says. I don't see it. I see it more as, that's the old man. We're the young guys. Tom Brady carried you. Let's go. And again, whether that's actually the reality of what happened in New England, it doesn't matter, because that's the perception. And I forget if it was Diggs or Micah who was like barking at Dak Prescott preseason. And it was one of those things where it was like, what look is this? Do you ever see anyone barking at Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow? And it's a bad look. And actually, Diggs did do the thing to Josh Allen, which was, very disrespectful. Like, use your head. And so Dak Prescott doesn't command that unconditional respect. He doesn't command, well, I will follow that guy into wherever because we know he is bringing it. And we know if we lose, it has nothing to do with him. It's questioned. When you have a questioned leader, that's where things go downhill. No one questions Andy Reid. No one questions Patrick Mahomes. No one questioned Tom Brady. No one at the time questioned Bill Belichick. Now they do. And the moment you start asking questions, the moment you don't have that unconditional confidence and respect from your team and organization, that's when things all go downhill. That's when things start to break and burst. And that's what happens when you start seeing dynasties start to break and burst. Because the coaches, mainly the players who are no longer as elite as they once were, they were no longer in their prime. Now they can't walk the walk. They still try to talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. And so then the younger guys are all like, well, what the heck, man? You're not doing it right now. Kind of like what you saw with Draymond Green and the Golden State Warriors, is that Draymond Green commanded all that respect because he was crucial for winning the championships. Steve Kerr talks about it all the time. You can't win those championships. They're not a dynasty without Draymond Green. But now everyone's getting a little bit older. Steph's older. Draymond's older. They're not as good. Now all that barking is not perceived the same way. It's kind of like, man, you old. I see the grays in your beard. You can't even do what you used to be able to do. Get the heck out of here. This is my time. I'm 23 years old right now, man. This is my time to shine. You can't keep up with me. Like it's just like this rebellion that you see. So I do not believe that Bill Belichick would have fixed it. I really don't. I don't think McCarthy has the ability to fix it either. That's why you needed to get a new coach with a big personality who is alpha, who is coming in to be like, I am him, which is why Harbaugh actually would have been the best hire. It would have been a risk to get like a Ben Johnson or some other offensive coordinator. That because they're not necessarily proven, but if you're unproven, you still kind of get a little bit of mystique as well because it's the unknown, right? You don't know. It's a question mark. So when someone just comes marching in there with confidence and says, follow me, will lead us into greatness, let's go. You're kind of like, well, we don't have a reason to believe that he's necessarily wrong. And so if they have the charisma and they have that, confidence, then you follow him. And then if you start winning, it's like, hey, I trust this guy. That's what happened with Sean McVay, Shanahan, right? When you get this early success, that's what happens. You can kind of build off that, but people are already trying to poke holes in the Shanahan, mystique of him being great because of some of the decisions he's made in previous Super Bowls, right? So it's a very fragile thing. Having that respect and trust is so crucial as a head coach. And that's why they always talk about this coach lost a locker room. And as soon as you lose a locker room, see you bye. I just don't see how Bill Belichick regains a locker room. He couldn't even keep the locker room at his own franchise where he has all the trophies, all the power, all the respect of every single staff member there. And yet it didn't matter. It was a complete dumpster fire for the last few years ever since Brady left. Complete dumpster fire. That's what it comes down to. So, that's my thoughts on this one. If you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So, thank you so much, and see you next time.